Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. It is Thursday, you Gooner's favorite day. I know you guys be loving it. Oh man, we have obviously sweet Venom for today's episode. We're going to be doing chapters 3 and 4. Super excited about that. I know that you guys are too. Hope you guys have been enjoying. This book seems like it's a little different. I thought we were going to continue the story of the other girl. Maybe this kind of like all links together or something. I don't know. Because I think we're going over like a brand new girl. There's a brand new girl and guy. So this seems to be maybe a couple. They go to the same school and whatnot. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see kind of where it goes and how it ties in with everything. Because if it does like tie in perfectly with everything else, I'm like, dude, that is beautiful. That's amazing writing. I thought they were just going to continue the storyline, but I guess not. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't know what's up with that. You guys can probably let me know down in the comments. You guys probably already know, you know what I mean? Like what's going on. So let me know down in the comments if you guys know what the fuck is going on. But I mean, as far as what's going on so far, I'm enjoying it. I actually really like it. But we're going to get right on into it. Obviously we have our thread first, and then we're going to get on into chapters 3 and 4. So our thread for today is, who's your, I know he's pure evil, but I can't prove it person. All right, so let's see who you guys are deeming as your evil person, and you just can't prove it. Okay. The coworker who CCs your manager on an email about a minor typo, but accidentally forgets to include you on the invite for crucial project meetings. They always use that sickly sweet corporate HR voice, but you just know they would step over your dead body for a 2% raise. Damn. Then that motherfucker would sit there like, yeah, nah, I know you're sly as fuck. I already know it. I just can't prove it. You be doing shit, you know, like that's the worst part where like people that you work with or people that you're acquaintances of or whatever the case may be, you don't know them too well, but you know them good enough. You know what I mean? You know them good enough to where you're just like, I know you got a sly bone in that body, and I just don't know where yet. It's going to show up. Don't get me wrong. It's going to show up, and it's going to rear its ugly head eventually. You just don't know exactly when it will show up. And that's one of those things where, like, for me, I have maybe like 1 or 2 coworkers that's like that. And honestly, the best thing for like what I do is I just keep it quiet, man. I just keep it quiet and I stay vigilant, because every once in a while they'll do something and, you know, they'll get caught up and you'll be like, got you, you know. I hate that it has to be like that in workspaces, but it's just the truth, because there's always somebody that's trying to get over on somebody else, or somebody that gets the enjoyment out of like getting someone else in trouble. I know you guys have somebody like that at work. You guys are driving to work right now thinking about that motherfucker right now. You're just like, you old bitch ass motherfucker. Yeah, I know exactly. Fucking Greg, bro. You know, he stole my fucking pudding yesterday, old bitch ass nigga. I know. And if I would have caught him, if I would have caught him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Hey, everybody's got one. Everybody's got that one person, bro, where they know for a fact, they're like, the moment I catch you slipping, man, I swear to goodness, I'm about to get you. I'm about to get you caught up. All right. What is your, I know he's pure evil, but can't prove it person? One of my aged care clients I care for, he's 90, and the way he corners you and traps you in his room or grabs your wrist, I know he's one evil bastard. No friends and no family. I guarantee you he be grabbing your booty. I guarantee you he be grabbing your booty, and nobody believes you, because they're just like, he's a geriatric 90-year-old man. What are you talking about, Shelby? He didn't grab your butt. You know, and then they go over there like, yeah. Like, bro, come on, man. That's crazy work. That is crazy. That motherfucker is crazy. I know. I've always said it. Like when I become an old man and whatnot, I just want to be doing weird shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I just want to be doing dumb shit because nobody's gonna believe him. I'm an old man. You know, like what are you talking about? Like I go to the movie theaters and start kicking, the back of their seat and whatnot. And they're just like, what the fuck? And I'm just an old man, just like trying to look at the TV screen. Like, well, what? What are you looking at me for? I'm trying to see the damn movie. I've always said that. Or I would like play blind. You know what I mean? Play blind like I can't see or nothing and be touching some boobies and shit. I ain't gonna lie, I'd be a creepy old man. Like, why not, man? Why not? I'm about to die in a few, decades. So why the fuck not, bro? Like if I get to like 70, 80 around there, that's when the shenanigans are gonna start. I don't really think you're like old until you hit like mid 60s. I won't lie to you. I don't think you're really like old until you hit mid 60s. There's a lot of dudes in their 50s. There's a lot of dudes in their early 60s that are still just like kicking, doing their thing. You know what I mean? They still go to the gym regularly. They still walk around, and you know what I mean? Like nowadays, old people is not like back then's old people. Back then it's like motherfuckers could be like 60 and they look decrepit. They could be like 55 and just looking decrepit, and you're just like, damn, nigga, what the fuck happened to you? But you see like newer, I don't want to say newer age, but like I guess old people nowadays, 50, 60 nowadays, and they're still kicking. I work with like some 50, 60-year-old dudes, and bro, they look it, don't get me wrong, but they're still kicking and walking around and doing all kinds of shit, you know what I mean? And so that's why I kind of look at it like the shenanigans probably won't start till like 70. Once I hit 70, I'm like, the shenanigans are going crazy. I'm about to get up in there. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be lifting girls' skirts with my cane, be like, what? I'm what? Because again, why the fuck not, bro? Why not? It's like, I think I'm gonna die anyway. Like, who cares? Okay. What is your this person is evil and I just can't prove it person? I had this and was proved right. At 24, my wife and I moved to a new city and started attending a church. We joined a young couples class, and one of the men in the group was also a youth pastor. Everyone was friends with him in the couples classes, but he gave me the biggest pit in my stomach, and I didn't know how he interacted with kids. Just creepy. I went so far as to speak with the church leadership after about a year of being there, and they told me they trusted him. This caused people to get upset at me for being an alarmist and questioning his integrity. A few years later, he got caught graping a kid under 10. I still listen to my gut when it tells me something. Yeah, bro, sometimes you can just look at a person and see how they move and act, and you just know immediately, like, yeah, they're on some fuck shit. You can't. It's not hard. It's not hard to like really look at somebody, see how they move, see the type of person that they are, and immediately be able to kind of like narrow them down. Sometimes is your gut wrong? Yeah. But very rarely is that gut pit feeling wrong. A lot of times, I get it. You want to give people the benefit of the doubt. You want to understand, like, maybe I'm just being a little too crass. You know what I mean? But I won't lie to you. The more you spend time around that person, because they said they spent a year at that church. So I guarantee you through that year, he was seeing things and noticing things, and I'm sure hearing some things where he was just like, yeah, I think my suspicion is, but he couldn't do anything because nobody believed him. Nobody believed him. And it's crazy to me how, like, teachers as well as pastors, even like pastor teachers or like the church teachers, how they like have the I don't know if churches do this still, but how the kids will have like classes and whatnot. I've heard that like a lot of times the pastors as well as those teachers will be all about touching kids and whatnot. It's crazy to me. And we're seeing that even more. And I'm sure you guys have seen it, like a little more prevalent than you would like to admit. But a lot of teachers, male, female, doesn't really matter. I've been seeing more female teachers, but I'm sure there's some male teachers out there touching girls and whatnot. But I've been seeing there's a lot of teachers, bro, that are just getting involved in this shit. And to me, I'm just like, where the fuck did all this pedophilia come from, bro? You know what I mean? Like, where in the hell did all this come? It was like COVID happened, and all of a sudden the floodgates on pedophilia just rampant, and you're like, bro, what the hell happened? What, like, maybe we just weren't as prevalent to it, and it was just more like it had always been there. We just didn't really see it, and now that we see it, it just seems like it's all over the place. That might be what's going on. But to me, like, when I was a kid, you had those like creepy, neighbors, and you had those creepy guys, and you had those people that you were kind of like, don't talk to that person, or that person is weird because they're smelly all the time, or whatever the case may be. Like, when I was a kid, yeah, we had those people, but I don't know, you really didn't experience too often like somebody being known, to be a rapist, or somebody being known to like touch kids or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you just didn't see that all the time. Especially, like, I always went to church my entire life because, my family, my dad's side of the family was, for one, heavily invested in the church. They owned a church. My grandfather was a pastor. I was heavily a part of like the classes and choir and all that kind of stuff. And so it was one of those things where it was just like, when I was in church, I just never really seen any of that. And then all of a sudden I keep seeing these stories come out where pastors are touching little boys, and, these, like church teachers and stuff like that are coming out, and, they're touching kids and shit like that. And they're coaxing kids into going to their car. And you're just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what the fuck, man? It is something that is like serious, and it's very scary. And I think it is a valid reason on why a lot of people are opting out of church. They still believe in the faith, and they still have it, but I just think they kind of opt out of church because they look at it like, yeah, there's just too many stories coming out of pastors just doing weird shit, and they're like, I don't want to be trusting my pastor, and then all of a sudden, I trust the wrong one, and it's too late, So I definitely get it, man. I can see, how that could be really, really tough. All right, what is your I know this person is evil, but I just can't prove it person? There was a really put together guy at work. Super nice, always on point, but everything was too on point. His outfits were always perfect. At first, we joked that he ironed his socks. Then it was that his closet was organized by color. It went on and on. One day, we had a Corona promo girls at the pool. It's a hotel. He mentioned something about letting him know next time those girls were around. We were taken aback because we always assumed that he was gay based on the fashion choices. Maybe. I mean, I would have thought he's just a metrosexual kind of guy, but I mean, hey, either way, just a surprise. We then started joking that he had a secret sex dungeon behind his color-coded closet. It was Florida, so we couldn't say basement. Then he tried to kidnap a front desk agent, basically. Yo! He took her off property in his car under the guise that they were going to the other side of the property. Driving to the other side was not uncommon because the property was huge and required you to leave the property and re-enter at another gate. I've definitely ridden with others, so not exactly weird. Then he went the opposite direction. She asked where they were going, and when he said it was because they needed to pick up something for work, she said she'd rather walk, and he just said it would only take a minute. She got out of the car and at a stoplight and ran. He got fired. No one knows what he would have done to her if she didn't run. Maybe we were right. We'll never know. You want to know what I think he was, I think he was one of those kind of guys that he was just mad parasocial. All right. I think what happened is he started working there. He saw that girl, right? He saw that girl. And he was like, man, that front desk lady, God, bro, ooh, she's just my type. She my shit, you know what I mean? And so then he found her on Instagram, obviously through name records, or, you know, you can look at all your coworkers through like your portal or through your pay portal, whatever you guys use. There's like Dayforce, there's a couple other ones. Whatever you guys use, you can look up other people. Like all your stuff is there. And so I'm sure he found her name first and last, looked her up online, found her like social media, and I guarantee you he kind of saw like the guys that she would follow or the guys that she would like, or maybe some fashion stuff that she liked or whatever. And I think that was the reason for his like very particular fashion like choices, if you will. You know what I mean? I don't think he was metrosexual. I don't think he was gay. I think he just looked at it like, I know what this girl likes and I want to be what she likes. And so I think that's why he was doing it. And I think it got to a point where he looked at it like, man, I've known her for so long. It's time for me to like take our relationship to the next level. Now, mind you, he hasn't had a conversation with this girl yet. So there is no next level to take it to, but because he's so parasocial, he looks at it like, yeah, this is my girl that I've been, talking to or getting to know for the last couple months. And so for him, he's just like, yeah, we have this, relationship, when in reality, it's like, no, bro, you have a relationship with her Instagram, or you have a relationship with her Facebook profile. You know what I mean? You don't really have a relationship with her. You've never said a word to her, I'm assuming, because of the fact that, she had felt comfortable when it was a work thing, but she didn't feel comfortable when it was a personal thing. You know what I mean? And so I think that's definitely what was going to happen, is that he was going to try to get her, somewhere secluded, somewhere, where they can't be seen or whatnot. And he's just going to be like, oh, I'm ready to take our relationship to the next level, and we can do this and we can do that. And you're just like,
hey, yo, what the fuck?
Ah, hell nah. You know what I mean? And I guarantee that's why she got out of the car and she ran, because I think she sensed that. Because women have a really good barometer of, like, social cues and, just kind of social understandings, you know what I mean, amongst people. Like, guys don't really have that too much. Guys are kind of like social retards, if I'm being honest with you, just because they don't pick up on body language very well. They don't pick up on subtle nuances and small little hints and things like that. They just don't pick up on those things very well. Are there guys that do? Yeah, but majority of guys don't. You know what I mean? It's the reason why majority of guys are very clumsy when it comes to girls, or when it comes to escalating. It's a little hard for them to escalate in the correct ways that she would feel most comfortable in. It's just a lot of things when it comes to that. And so that's why it's one of those things where I guarantee you, for her, she kind of saw a lot of those escalating traits and saw a lot of that, and was just like, oh, let me just ski on daddle on out of here, because yeah, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. That left that nigga like, damn, yeah, bro. I guarantee that's what was going on. Now that we have the kind of the full story and the full context, that I think is definitely what was going on. He was dressing the way that he thought she would like or be attractive, because I think he stalked her online, you know what I mean, trying to figure out what she liked and what she didn't like, her fashion preferences, you know what I mean. He wanted to be that model guy. And then I think since he was getting to know her so much on social media, he felt like he knew her. And so since he felt like he knew her, he was like, it's time for our relationship to go to the next level. For her, she's like, bro, what are you talking about next level? Like, we haven't even started level 1 and you're over here thinking we should go to level 2. Like, no, bruh, no. So yeah, damn, crazy work, bro, crazy. Okay, what is your I know this person is evil but just can't prove it person? I once met the owner of a local orchard who I can confidently say is the most outright terrifying man I've ever met. He employed almost exclusively undocumented immigrants and did all of the terrible tactics you hear of farm owners using on them. The reason I met him was because I worked at a furniture store and we had gotten in a lot of freight that included plastic chairs, standing work style tables, etc. He bought our whole stock and was complaining about how the government mandated he give them somewhere to sit now. He talked about them like farm equipment, and he looked at us like a shop, like we were garbage he had to interact with to get what he wanted. Like we were lucky we weren't under his jurisdiction too. He came straight from the orchard to pick the stuff up, and he was dressed like some sort of World War I colonel, with big leather boots and the military style pants that flare out to the sides. One of my coworkers agreed that he was like if you took the warden and guard captain from Shawshank and combined them together into one person with a sprinkle of Mr. Candy from Django. Okay. We loaded up his stuff as quickly as possible so we could get out of his presence. I remember seeing a piece in the local paper about his orchard, and of course the pictures of him was of him smiling in a flannel shirt with his wife like they were the ones who picked all the apples. Dude was considered a pillar of the community. He was a modern day slave driver and an evil son of a bitch. This was years ago, around 2017, and he was old then. If justice exists, he's dead and in hell by now. Bro, wow. That's crazy. So you found out about this guy simply because you worked at a furniture store, and he would walk in and say, "Oh man, I gotta buy all these plastic chairs and tables because I have to give my workers a place to sit." You know, and I'm sure he probably pried just a little bit. "Oh, you know, what's your work? What do you do?" And he's like, "Oh, you know, I have an orchard. I have apples." You know what I mean? All my workers, all my apple pickers. You know what I mean? I'm sure he said it derogatory too. You know what I mean? He was probably just like, "Oh, he's fucking," you know. I don't want to say because we're on YouTube, but I'm. Insert derogatory Mexican slur here. You know what I mean? Apple pickers and all that kind of stuff. And I guarantee that's kind of what he was doing. You know what I mean? He was kind of just like, yeah. And I guarantee you he was probably just one of those guys that was just mad racist. You know, I always say it. It's like, dude, racism only lives and exists because old people keep that shit alive. You know what I mean? Old people keep that shit alive, bro. And it's like, dude, it's a modern age, man. We're so past that shit, if I'm being real with you. Because the thing is, you know, you see like younger to more middle-aged, white guys, like they're not the ones that are sitting here calling, black people's a hard R and all this kind of stuff. They're not, unless they're doing it for shock value or some internet clicks and stuff like that. They're not just going out on their own limb and they're doing that. They're not. It's very rare circumstance that they'll do it. This guy, I'm sure, was just doing it for the fun of it. You know what I mean? He was just doing it for the fuck of it. But like, I would argue majority of like white dudes, man, like white dudes don't want to be white in 2026. If I'm being honest with you, they don't, and it is what it is. You can take that how you want to take it, but it's just like, dude, racism is kept alive because of fucking old people, bro. It's so annoying to me. The amount of times I've like run in or dealt with old people where they, perpetuate that bullshit. I'm just like, see, you're the fucking problem. You know what I mean? It's all these boomer generations and all this shit, man. Like, these motherfuckers just need to die out already. Because once they do, it's like, then we can finally start, like, weeding this bullshit out, because it sucks that, like, the younger generation will get caught in this. You know what I mean? Because of the older generation, so people will look at it like, oh yeah, well, your dad and your grandpa and all that believe it, so you must believe it too. And it's like, no, I fucking don't. Like, I'm able to kind of look at things objectively and understand, like, no, what my delusional ass grandpa over there is saying is fucking stupid. I get it. That nigga was, he came from the time, of Jim Crow, like at the end of Jim Crow and all that kind of stuff. He came from that time. I get that. You know what I mean? Let him be crazy and cuckoo in the corner, but like, don't throw that on me. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. It's just one of those things where it's like, old people are the ones who are perpetuating this bullshit. They are. It's ridiculous. Like, if you sit there and you're like, oh, but young people say it all the time. It's like, yeah, but they say it to get clicks. They say it to get a rise. They say it because they're being emotional. You know what I mean? They're not just going around their everyday life talking about, oh, yeah, I work with these hard R's all the time. Yeah, I fucking work with these beans. Like, bro, they just don't. I'm sorry to say, they just don't. Like you guys are always like trying to make it into something it's not, and it's just like, it's just not. It's not. It's fucking old people, bro. It's old people. And that boomer generation just needs to go. Yeah, I mean, COVID didn't do a good enough job getting rid of them. Let's be real. If we want to get into conspiracy theories, you know what I mean? Like, goddamn. All right, that was a little too much. I'm gonna move on to the next one. All right, this will be our last one for this thread. What is your I know they're evil, but I just can't prove it person? This guy that works at a bookstore in my hometown that I do not trust. Dude is conventionally attractive and has never been rude, but every time we made eye contact, alarm bells started ringing. Like, just dead behind the eyes, and every cell in my body starts screaming at me to get as far away as I can. I haven't been back to that store in years because of that feeling. Oh, man. It's funny because there was even a comment under there where it was like, are you sure his name is not Joe? If you guys ever seen the Netflix show You, oh, bro, good show. Good fucking show. And I guarantee you that's what it is. What I've noticed is that a lot of, like, good-looking guys are just, like, the worst fucking people. You know what I mean? And this is what I mean. Like a lot of, like, really good-looking dudes know that they're super good looking, and so they look at it like, oh yeah, a lot of girls, just like me based off of how I look. That he may be like really tall, he may be good in shape, he may, be tall and in shape, whatever the case may be. But like, the girls would just kind of naturally gravitate toward them, and so they look at it like, I don't really have to be a good person to get women. You know what I mean? I could just be an absolute POS and like, I'm chilling. That's what I've noticed lately. I've noticed like I've talked to a variety of men and stuff like that just in this space alone. And what I've noticed is there are some guys who really have like this cocky idea of like, oh, I can just kind of do whatever I want and like girls will just like me. Oh, I don't really have to try, or oh, I don't really have to take your advice because, I'm this good looking, or I'm a Chad, or I'm whatever. And for me, I'm just like, yeah, that's cool and all, but it's like, that doesn't mean you don't be a good person. And like I said, this is obviously the more of like, again, like I said, overly exaggerated good looking guys. It's the more of just the type of guy where a woman will look at them and be like, yeah, that dude's conventionally attractive, or a majority of women would think, oh yeah, you know what I mean? He's a conventionally good looking guy, where, most guys I would argue are not conventionally good looking. And so it's one of those things where it's like, these dudes just have this mindset of like, man, I just get bitches without trying. Like, I don't really have to be a good person. You kind of see this in dating app examples and stuff like that sometimes too, where you kind of see like their bios are just horrendous, but because he's 6'3" and you know what I mean, he's in shape, the girls are kind of just like, fuck the bio, I'm about it, so I bright, you know what I mean? It's that whole viral story that I'm sure a lot of you know about, where there was a guy, he made a fake profile, and he wanted to test this out. So he made a fake profile and he put a model's picture up, and he had the correct height, the correct name, everything, but in his bio he had put that he had been convicted like multiple times of beating women and this and that, and he was still able to get over 800 matches. It's kind of that like idea. So I think guys will see that example and then they'll be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm a, conventionally attractive guy. I'm a guy that, I get a lot of girls just based off my looks. So yeah, I could do whatever the fuck I want to do. You know what I mean? It's funny because one of my favorite YouTubers, his name is Tim Chantaransu. Love that guy. He's amazing. He always says, like, women really shouldn't seek to date tall guys because they have no personality, because they have no reason to have a personality because they're tall. Like, a short guy is going to be funny. He's going to have personality. He's going to be able to, give you good conversation, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm facts. You know what I mean? Facts. Because the thing is we have to have personality. Look, I'm a short guy. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm tall by any means. Okay? No, I'm not going to sit here and say I am tall by any means. I am a short dude. And my thing is, I still have pretty decent luck with ladies, just for the simple fact that, I have the gift of the gab. I'm able to kind of, understand their body language to a good degree. And then, I throw little jokes in there every once in a while. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you guys as well that are listening that are kind of short dudes, you're like, yeah, I feel you on that. Like, yeah. But a tall dude, you're like, that nigga ain't funny. Even my tall friends. All right, I have a couple tall friends. I have one dude who's like, I have one friend. He's like 6'5". Most boring fucking guy in the world, but just bitches love this dude. And I'm just like, what the fuck, man? And I say bitches because it's like, these women aren't dating this nigga, connecting with him. No, they're dating him because he's 6'5". You know what I mean? It's like, bro, get the fuck out of here, man. So I don't know. Hey, that's that. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you have ever experienced somebody that you're just like, hey, I know that motherfucker is evil, I just can't prove it, definitely put it down in the comments. We're going to have to announcements, get right into our book, patreon.com/mytheasshole podcast. Get an exclusive episode every single month, as well as our free episode every single month. Get in there, start your 7-day free trial, and after that, $3 a month, get signed up for that and get your exclusive episodes. Audio listeners, thank you guys for all the support, man. You guys have been absolutely killing it, especially on the Thursday episodes, man. Thursday episodes seem to be you guys' bread and butter. I appreciate that and love it so much. So rate us 5 stars on your preferred platform. Keep downloading the episodes. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, as well as subscribing onto YouTube. All of that is free, and it helps out tremendously. I love you guys, and I appreciate you so very much. Without further ado, though, we're going to get on into our book. So let's go ahead and get that loaded up for you people right now.
3. Violet. Morning, Vi. I flinch when slim arms hug me from behind, nearly making me spill the soup in the saucepan. Masking my nervousness, I turn to face my sister, who's grinning wide. Dahlia is about a year younger than me, and even though we're not related by blood, we met in my last foster home. She's the only family I have. She's curvier than me, with golden olive-toned skin, long, wavy brown hair, and the kind of bold presence that makes people stay away. But it's her eyes that always strike me the most. Big, expressive hazel, sharp and bold, like they've seen more than they should and somehow refused to shatter. Her smile drops. What's up with the dark circles? You worked too late and barely got any sleep again, didn't you? It's nothing. I pour the soup into a container and put on my practiced smile. You know how it is at the bar. Yeah, not sure the tips are worth it. They're obviously exploiting you. How many hours did you even sleep? 3. Despite the exhaustion, I couldn't fall asleep. I kept tossing and turning in bed, my mind filled with that stalker and his threats.
Reflect on your sins,
he said. What sins? The only person I've committed a sin against is dead. So why? I kept thinking about it all night, searching for the possible reasons he'd say something like that, but I still came up empty. Since I couldn't fall asleep, I scribbled in my journal and sketched a few things, and then I was able to drift off, but my sleep was riddled with nightmares of dark eyes and a bloodied, gloved hand squeezing my throat to death. I woke up both terrorized and disappointed. It's not the first time I've dreamt of death. And I'm always left with this niggling sadness at the realization that it's not real, that I didn't die like I should have. I slept enough, I answer Dahlia, who's still watching me with a slight frown. Look, I made you soup and a few sandwiches so you won't eat junk food. It's not that I want to eat junk food. I don't have time and can't cook to save my life, remember? She smiles sheepishly, opening the cabinet. Cooking is overrated anyway. I laugh and fix the collar of her jacket. It's leather. My fingers twitch. Why did it have to be leather? I let her go, and she retrieves an instant coffee packet. Eat something. Don't just drink coffee first thing in the morning. Don't have time. I'll be late for work. You're a med student, doll. You should be mindful of what you eat. I place a wrapped sandwich in front of her. Here, eat it on your way. She side hugs me, squeezing me tightly. You're truly the best ever. I hug her back, her warmth and carefree energy offering me a much-needed reprieve. Dahlia is nothing like me. She's a firecracker through and through. Several weeks ago, she caught Dave trying to harass me, and she pointed a gun at him. No kidding. It wasn't hers or loaded, but she still used it to scare him off. She's always been like this, not hesitating to speak up, shout, and destroy anyone who comes at her or me. I've always been in awe of how she couldn't care less about confrontation, or how social anxiety is scared of her. Dahlia and I met when she was 12, at a foster home where the parents used us for cash flow and repeatedly hit us. Dahlia more than me because she talked back. As for me, well, I had a different encounter with the dad, another man who only ever wanted my shell of a body. We ran away and have kind of survived together ever since, leaning on each other, being the home we both didn't have. I've never told her this because she'd freak out, but if Dahlia weren't in my life, if I didn't have a self-imposed purpose to take care of her and make sure she thrives and reaches her goals, I would have killed myself a long time ago. I would have stopped floating with nothing but pain tethering me to life. She's my lifeline, literally. Vi, honest, I mean it. You need to ask the manager for fewer shifts. You look out of it lately. She takes a sip of her coffee as she grabs some books she left on the kitchen table, where she usually studies. We live in a rundown one-bedroom apartment that we moved into recently, after the guy who used to rent us his attic tried to drug us with his homemade wine. It's a couple of streets away from our previous place, and we were lucky to find it after the old man who lived here died, and his son rented it out to us for a bargain. It's way better equipped than the attic, and we pay almost the same rent. Honestly, both Dahlia and I think we've hit the jackpot. It even has a balcony, can you believe it? I've never lived anywhere with a balcony, so these past few weeks have felt surreal. I usually sleep in the living room, having insisted Dahlia take the other room so she can focus on her studies. She wanted us to share it, but it's small, and I don't want to disturb her healthy sleeping schedule with my erratic, nightmare-filled one. I'm actually earning a bit more from my job now that I'm working extra shifts in the summer. She shoves the books into a tote bag. I'll help out more. Spend that money on your studies or your expenses. I'm truly fine, doll. She throws the bag over her shoulder and frowns. No, you're not. You're just saying that so I won't worry. Your back pain is flaring up again. Don't think I didn't notice the heat patches you're using on the regular now. It's a chronic injury. It's bound to flare. I hand her the sandwich she left on the counter. You'll be late. She kisses my cheek. I'm totally helping out more. See ya. And then she's off before I can reply. Since she said she'll help out, I can't stop her. I guess I'll buy her some necessities in return, starting with a new pair of her favorite white sneakers. Her old ones are so beat up they look gray. Maybe I'll design and embroider her a medical-themed patch for one of her bags. My classes start late today, so I spend an hour or so sketching some ideas in my journal while making food for Dahlia for the rest of the week. I haven't eaten anything since last night, but I'm used to this constant sense of starvation. I consider it intermittent fasting. Apparently, it's good for you. I would definitely rather Dahlia eat than me. Seeing her well-fed, well-dressed, and crushing it at school brings me joy and a sense of accomplishment of sorts. I'm apprehensive as I leave the apartment, even though I'm dressed in my signature hoodie and jeans. My strawberry blonde hair that reaches just below my shoulder blades is gathered in a bun and hidden by the hood. I'm also wearing my thick-framed glasses and carrying one of Dahlia's tote bags. Although it's daytime, I can't help glancing around corners, expecting the stranger to appear out of nowhere. He doesn't usually, not during the day, but I'm panicking a bit about his threat. I contemplated telling Dahlia about the whole thing earlier, but decided against it. I didn't in the past, because I refused to put her in danger, and I wouldn't now, because knowing her, she'd definitely confront him, and I'd never survive if he were to beat her to a pulp like he did Dave, or maybe even kill her. No, Dahlia can't know about this. Thankfully, the stalker isn't around, and I spend an uneventful day in class, going through the motions until I have to leave for work. My shift starts in the early afternoon today, and I still release a breath when I don't see his motorcycle or large frame close to Haven. The need to constantly be alert is starting to take a toll on me. I don't know how long I can survive looking over my shoulder, giving myself a pep talk every time I go to work or even step foot out of the apartment. I'm organizing the bar when Laura comes over squealing. I plaster a smile. Good news? The best. She shows me 2 hockey tickets. Boss gave us these for the Wolves' first game next season. He can be so sweet when he's not getting on my last nerve. Nice. Who are you taking? You. Boss said it's 1 ticket each. I line up the glasses on the shelves. Can I tell you a secret? Girls spill. I lean over and whisper, I don't really like hockey. The blasphemy. We live in Wolves territory where hockey is huge. I know. How dare I? Uh-huh. We need to have you checked and consult the priest for an exorcism and shit. I laugh. How about you take little Carly instead? She'd enjoy it much more than I would. Her eyes round. Oh my God, are you sure? Absolutely. Don't waste a ticket on me. This will be her first live game. Oh my God, she'll love it. She hugs me. You don't know how much this means to me, truly, Vi. I don't know how I'll ever repay you. It's nothing. Don't worry about it, really. She hugs me again and scurries away, calling her daughter to tell her the news. I love how she squeals, nearly jumping in place at hearing Carly's reactions. A while later, patrons start filtering in, and the manager puts on another replay of a hockey game. He sometimes rotates other sports, but really, he and the owner are hockey fanatics, so they always play it on at least one TV, even during the off-season. During the season, however, that's pretty much all that's shown. This one is apparently the Wolves' fiercest game from last season against their arch-nemesis, according to one of the regulars. I'm working at the bar, helping out the bartender, as the 2 guys sitting on the stools whistle at something happening on TV. I don't even pay attention to the game, mostly thinking about whether the stalker will show up again tonight and what I can do if he does. The bar gets packed fast, the crowd smelling like beer, sweat, and cheap aftershave. The game plays on a few screens, the flicker of harsh arena lights casting a bluish tint over the faces of the regulars. Their voices rise and fall in drunken excitement, spouting curses and half-slurred commentary between gulps of beer. I wipe the counter absent-mindedly, my rag catching on a deep scratch in the wood, one of many scars from years of slamming glasses and flying fists. Their voices push their way in, seeping into the cracks of my mind like smoke. A glass thuds against the counter, liquid sloshing over the rim, spilling beer where I just wiped.
Jesus Christ, Callahan's at it again. Cheap shot on the back check.
Another guy grunts.
Nah, worse. Laid that poor bastard out with a reverse hit. Kid never saw it coming. That's Callahan for you.
Another man mutters, shaking his head.
Most violent bastard in the league aside from our own Osborne.
My ears perk up at Marcus Osborne's name. He's one of Dahlia's useless exes, and I'm glad she only stayed with him for 2 weeks before realizing he's a can of worms she shouldn't go near. I've always wished I could be as assertive as Dahlia in the way she treats men. She loves danger and having fun, but she also doesn't hesitate to throw them away the moment she gets bored, which is what she did to Marcus. He's still a hockey god in this town, and even someone like me knows he's the Wolves' captain and Stantonville's pride. So to hear one of the regulars compare someone else to him in the form of praise is rare. I glance up just as the instant replay rolls. The Callahan everyone's talking about plays for the Vipers, the team from the neighboring affluent town, Greystone Ridge. No way. My fingers clench around the rag as he stands there, his large physique and the glare I've had nightmares about on full display. The replay shows him skating at supersonic speed, but he doesn't chase the puck. He's tailing the other player like a predator timing his strike. The other team's forward barely turns his head before Callahan plants his skates, shifts his weight, and slams into him with the force of a car crash. The guy crumples, chest first, against the boards, his stick clattering to the ice. A collective wince ripples through everyone watching the game. I can't stop staring at the screen, held captive by the scene as my heartbeat thuds against my ribcage. Callahan, Jude, judging by the banner that appears on the screen, isn't celebrating or even looking back at the wreckage he left behind. He just skates away, his jaw tight, his eyes empty under the harsh lights of the rink. The same dark eyes that peered into my soul last night and filled my nightmares. My stalker has a name, and it's Jude Callahan. But that's not what sends bile up my throat, forcing me to rush to the toilet, my eyes watering, my knees shaking, and vomit filling my mouth. He couldn't have been related to Susie Callahan, right? The woman who was killed right before my eyes, and I couldn't do anything to stop it.
4. Jude. The end of the unofficial summer skate leaves me with nothing. Just another flare of violence, another burst of light. But then it's all done, and I'm back to square one. Violentless, with these goddamn urges still coursing through my veins with the blood. Slipping beneath every ridge of tense muscle, every scar, tattoo, and God-forsaken memory. The shower is scalding, but it does nothing to burn off the adrenaline still thrumming in my veins. My muscles ache in that raw way that should imply I left everything on the ice. But I didn't. This rage is uncontainable, indestructible. No amount of hockey violence can rip me from its clutches. I shut the water off and rake a hand through my hair, pushing it back as I step into the locker room, the thick scent of sweat, tape, and victory hanging in the air. The place is alive with noise, guys shoving each other, laughing and talking about the game. "Nice hit out there, Callahan." Ryder slaps me on the back as I pass, his grin sharp and his eyes still wild with post-game energy. "Thought you were going to take Hunter's head clean off." "Should've. Next time." I yank a towel off the bench, rolling my shoulders, not caring that everyone can see the map of scars on my back, partially concealed by tattoos. Half of the guys here know the reason, and the other half wouldn't dare ask. "Fucking savage." Drayton, our goalie, mutters, shaking his head as he laces up his dress shoes. You play like you've got a personal vendetta against the ice itself. I started it. I reach into my locker. A few guys chuckle. Others are chirping about a missed play. Even though it's summer, elite college hockey teams like the Vipers don't really take time off. We often do captain-led practices, whether it's skates, scrimmages, or drills. The coaches are technically not involved, aside from conditioning and strength coaches during some sessions, but really it's all due to a program created by our captain, Kane. He's currently leaning against the lockers, already fully dressed and going through his phone. Unlike me, he doesn't like showcasing his scars. Not that I love it, per se, but it's a fuck you to the system, so everyone can see what type of monster my father truly is. Not that I'm any better. Birds of a feather and all that. Davenport. I call Kane's last name and he lifts his head, his expression calm, his face so welcoming you'd think he was an angel. I need a word. About your irresponsible play? He lifts a brow. Sure. I pause after grabbing my deodorant. I only got sent to the box twice. One is overkill. I was still the best player. Nah, that's me. Preston lifts his hand in my peripheral vision. He's sitting on the bench, a towel hanging low on his hips, one ankle resting on his knee like he owns the damn room. He pauses, taping his wrist, his usual smirk firmly in place. Hell of a game, Callahan, but we all know I'm the fan favorite. Even though it was a practice game, there's already an article. He slides his hands in the air as if unveiling the title. Armstrong, the league's undefeated left wing, strikes again, even during the off-season. I lift a brow. Pay the reporter. Stay jealous, big man. Now, more importantly, how's my hair? Like roadkill on a humid day. I see you're still jealous. He pats his styled blonde strands. Don't listen to Jude's nonsense, my premium genetics. And yet those premium genetics still lost the puck battle against a guy built like a traffic cone. I remind him, just out of spite. Press, Kane, and I grew up together, but Press is probably my best friend. Kane has always been self-contained in a way, never goes too high or too low, perfectly able to remain calm under duress, then shove himself back into a mold. He has the type of control Press and I lack in spades, so we inevitably grew closer. In a sense, Press's sickness speaks to mine, and his darkness mirrors my own. We're the toxic duo everyone hates to see coming. Preston tuts, unfazed. That was strategy, Callahan. Gotta let the little guys think they have a chance before you yeet the whole damn carpet into next week. It's pulled the rug out from under them, not whatever crime against language you just committed. I meant to add my special twist. I chuck a roll of tape at him, hitting him square in the chest. Now you just don't know your idioms. I do. He catches the tape before it rolls onto the floor, then stands, squaring up to me with a taunting, dimpled grin. You're the boring prick who has not 1 ounce of creativity in his thick head. I'll knock your teeth out. Ooh, is that a threat? Fuck around and find out, Armstrong. Oh my. He lifts a hand to his chest in mock disbelief. You have the heart to hurt my beautiful face? Is beautiful in the room with us? Pfft. You jealous petty bitch. One day you'll appreciate my genius more. Doubt it. That's what they all say before they realize they can't live without me. Oh, the horror. Imagine not having me in your life. I pause, my index finger tapping my lip as I pretend to be thinking. Pretty peaceful, actually. Why do you lie? He's about to punch me, but Kane steps in with the usual sigh of exasperation he gives when Press and I bicker, or start hitting each other for no reason whatsoever. Actually, that reason is aggression. Something Kane can rise above, but we can't. If you're done fighting like chickens, get dressed, Jude. I don't have all night. Kane leaves first, and I throw on my sweatpants and shirt in record time before following him to the coach's office down the hall of Vipers Arena, the pride and joy of Greystone University, and honestly, the entire town of Greystone Ridge. We were born and bred here, raised in this pocket of wealth where centuries-old tradition collides with modern edge. A place where old money doesn't fade. It evolves, sharpens, and makes sure everyone remembers who built this town. I find Kane leaning against the desk, staring at his phone with a tilted head and a hooded expression. Not sure who or what captured his attention, but it's bad news for the other party. While it's true that he's calm and collected, like all of us, he was born with a demon lurking inside him. Sorry I'm late. Preston barges in behind me. Not really sorry, but anyway, I'm here now. You're welcome, bitches. This has nothing to do with you, I grunt as I close the door he left wide open. Nonsense. Everything has to do with me. He grins, trudging to Kane's side and hitting his shoulder. What's the plan? And don't be boring. Kane doesn't acknowledge either of us for a while, still staring at his phone. Even though Kane is the captain, he shouldn't have free access to the coach's office. In theory, at least. In practice, the three of us have unrestricted access, not just to Greystone University or GU, but to the entire town of Greystone Ridge. Our clearance comes in the form of the black ring on each of our index fingers. They're more than just symbols of status. They're proof that we belong, not only to the founding families of this town, but to the secret society that shadows it. Vencor. Callahan, Davenport, Armstrong, Osborne. The four pillars of Greystone Ridge, the originators of Vencor, the ones who've held this place together and in their grip for generations. The black rings mean we're senior members, the highest rank attainable for anyone outside of direct bloodlines. Trial, member, senior, and founder. That's the order. And while we currently hold senior status, we're in the final stretch. After graduation, we'll face our last trial and ascend to the position we were always meant to inherit. Founder. Kane taps his index finger against the back of his phone. His ring bears the Davenport family crest, a compass rose. It's a symbol of control, steering direction, and navigating dominance. Fitting, considering the Davenports have monopolized the import and export industry. I twirl my own ring slowly. It's etched with the Callahan crest, a caduceus twisted in thorny vines, a corrupted version of the medical symbol. It represents our family's unrelenting grip on the pharmaceutical sector. Hell, ever since my brother Julian took over the Callahan Empire, we've become unrivaled. Press wears the Armstrong crest, a sun and a crescent moon, a nod to his family's hold on energy in all its forms. Then there are the Osbornes. They don't currently have a college-aged member, at least not officially, but their crest is a lion's head framed with gears, reflecting their control over real estate, construction, and every inch of urban development in this town. Over the centuries, the four families learned to carefully and calculatedly share power. That uneasy balance eventually gave birth to Vencor, the society we now oversee. It's through Vencor that we built our empire, recruiting, shaping, and eliminating as needed, ensuring that Greystone Ridge stays exactly the way it was always meant to be, and that our legacy never dies. What the hell are you watching? Press peers over Kane's shoulder. Is it porn? If yes, why am I not invited? Kane slips his phone into his pocket and shoves Press away. Why are you even here? Press releases an exasperated sigh. You keep asking that, and yet you can't live without me. Highly debatable. You little ungrateful cretin. Anyway, Kane slides his attention to me. What did you want to talk about? I need another name from the list. I speak in a calm tone I don't feel. He raises a brow. You already took care of Violet? My throat constricts and I feel the veins popping in my neck, my muscles tightening and sporadic fires spreading across my skin. At just the mention of her name, all their names, and she is just another fucking name. It's time for the next name, I say, ignoring his question. What the fuck? Preston jumps up. Why haven't I been on this Violet's hunt, big man? I thought we were bros. But then you go on killing sprees without inviting me? There was no hunt. Kane tilts his head to the side. Was there? That's none of your business. Give me the next name. Whoa, hold up. Press stalks toward me, then circles me. You mean to tell me you've had this Violet's name for a while, and it didn't result in a hunt? Blink once if you've been possessed. Kane, I growl, ignoring Press's buzzing. Don't make me repeat myself. I'm curious is all. He crosses his arms. Is this a new pattern? Not finishing off your targets? No? I just have a different plan for her, and stop asking questions. All right, I'll leave you to it. Kane pushes off the desk and comes closer, shoving Preston, who's been circling and poking me, out of the way, then whispers in my ear, "Remember, the sister stays out of whatever you're doing." I stared down at him. "Depends on how fast you are with that name." He narrows his eyes. "You know, your brother has been threatening me to stop enabling your violent sprees. My brother can go fuck himself. I expect a file in my inbox tomorrow at the latest." He grunts out a reply and leaves. "Hey," Preston whispers near my ear, resuming poking me. "Do you hear me? Will the real Jude please stand up? Fuck off." I swat him away. "Oh, you're back, big man." He grins. "I was on the verge of starting an exorcism side gig and shit. Might accidentally become a cult leader, though. Not that I'm against the idea per se, but those fanatics can be crazy. Not that I'm less crazy, so maybe it's not a bad idea. Think Dad would finally disown me once I'm on the news?" I leave him blabbering and stride out of the office, but of course he falls in step beside me and wraps an arm around my shoulder. "So, Violetta, huh? Are we stalking? Because I have the perfect hoodie." My shoulders tense, but I feign indifference. "You are not stalking, Press." "Why not?" "Because you start shouting, 'This is stupid, let's fuck them up instead,' 10 minutes in." I mean, it kind of was. Your previous targets that I had the misfortune of stalking were more boring than monogamy, and we all know that's like my least favorite thing. But, he headlocks me, "You're not killing this Veronica or hunting her after all this time, so she must not be boring. I want to see for myself." "No!" I punch him in the side, hard. "Fucking hell!" He grunts, releasing me and bending over, then grins with a manic edge. "That interesting?" I leave even as his unhinged laughter echoes in the air. Well, fuck me sideways. I think I just piqued Preston's interest in something neither he nor Kane should know about.
All right. And that has been today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. And in listening to these two chapters, I guess it is a continuation of the first book. All right. I'm actually excited about it. I'm like, all right, let's go. Because, you know, the way it started, it didn't seem like it was a continuation. It seemed like it was just an alternate start from the other book. But no, it is a continuation. It is. Our original two characters are still in there. And we're just kind of seeing a side of another two characters, which I think is really cool. So I'm excited to see, you know, and listen to more of it and all that good stuff. But obviously that'll be next week. So I will see you guys on Sunday for another episode. Michael's going to be here and we're going to be reacting to some videos and all that good stuff. So, yeah. We'll see you Sunday, and then, you know, we'll continue this, obviously next week. Love you guys. I will see you all. Peace.